Meet Lamont Cranston, a billionaire who, by day, is a playboy, but by night he goes on by a different aura, a different persona, if you will. A persona known only as the Shadow, a being who brings down righteous justice down on the enemies of America. But now, it seems that Mr. Cranston has gone too far, and he has traveled into a place known only as the Twilight Zone. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You're reading this right. There's actually this April, coming this April, Dynamite has announced a crossover between the Twilight Zone and the Shadow. Yeah. First off, I love the Shadow. I love the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone is one of my favorite shows. I absolutely enjoy that series. The Shadow's also a fun character, and yeah. Excuse me. There's something in my throat. Anyway, so with this comic, this sounds like a lot of fun. This honestly sounds like a lot of fun. Now, the writer I'm not familiar with, Dave Avalon. I'm sure he's done something, but I know JMS, I don't know if he's still writing the Twilight Zone. Last I checked, he was writing the Twilight Zone comics. And I know Garth Ennis is no longer on the Shadow. He hasn't been since, I think, the first story arc. But I do enjoy the Shadow. I really enjoy the Twilight Zone. But here's the thing. This crossover sounds really strange because, well, the Twilight Zone isn't really a place. There aren't really characters you can hang out with. There aren't really characters that, that focus on it. It's an anthology series. It's a series where, anything can happen. It's a science fiction, fantasy, and horror stories all rolled into one place. That's the big thing with the Twilight Zone. So it's going to be interesting to see Lamont Cranston as the Shadow travel into this place, because here's the thing about the Shadow. He's always been considered to be like a big supernatural character. He's a mystery to the world itself. Now, the story is that the Shadow is becoming too aggressive. He's becoming too violent, and now now it feels like reality is going to give him a wake-up call. Now, that's what I like to see, is that the Shadow, I love the description of the story, is that the Shadow knows what evil lurks in the hearts of man. But what lurks in the Shadow's heart? And I'm curious to see, because the Shadow, Lamont Cranston as the Shadow has always built up this aura of, I'm the thing you fear. But what does he fear? What does he fear in his mind? That's going to be that's going to be really cool to see. Now, I really am hoping, we at least get, the narrator of Twilight Zone. When the start of the comic happens, the next page you see, meet Lamont Cranston. And just go on from there. That would be a lot of fun. I would even like to see how exactly, because the Twilight Zone isn't exactly a physical place you can go to. You just kind of wander, all these stories kind of just wander in. So I'm wondering how exactly you're going to make this a Twilight Zone story without making it look too much like a very weird Shadow story. You really have to make sure that and tell people that, hey, this is the Twilight Zone that he's now a part of. So that's what I would like to see. That's what I would like to see. So that's what my kind of thing with the Twilight Zone crossover is, that it sounds like a cool idea, but then again, when you think about it, it's just a really weird. If you do a crossover with another character, the Twilight Zone is just a thing. It's just a TV series, an anthology series, and where all these characters, sometimes they get their just desserts, or they learn a lesson. And that's what I want to see is Lamont Cranston learning this lesson of his tactics are becoming too brutal, things like that. So that's what I'm thinking is going to be the case. But that's the problem with doing a crossover with the Twilight Zone, is that it just turns into a weird. It would just turn into a weird story for that character, But anyway, I am looking forward to this. I think it's really cool that this is going to be a 4-part crossover. I honestly thought when I first heard of it, I was like, oh, it's going to be a one and done. No, this is going to be a 4-part story that comes out, like I said, this April. Really looking forward to it. I might get it in trade. Yeah, I might get it in trade, but very interested to see where this comic goes. So yeah. So once again, guys, you guys tell me, what do you guys think of a crossover between the Twilight Zone and the Shadow? Really excited to see what you guys really interested to see what you guys have to say about this. And yeah, what characters would you like to see enter the Twilight Zone? But once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.